So here's some quick impressions of this exhaust system plus the airbox mod and the two-wheel Dynoworks tune on the GSX-8R. So it really wakes the bike up. Really wakes it up. A lot of these brand new motorcycles are very neutered from the factory, and the two-wheel Dynoworks tune plus the exhaust gives this motorcycle about 10 wheel horsepower and 10 foot-pounds of torque across the entire rev range, which for a motorcycle that's making about 70-something horsepower stock is a lot. You know, it's a big difference. It's more than 10%. It's close to 15% gain. You are certainly going to feel that from the side of the tire and when you're accelerating this machine. I will say the biggest noticeable difference that you feel when you do all these mods on this bike, besides the obvious increase in power, is the sonic sort of auditory feelings you get from the intake system, because you remove the snorkels, you remove that whole box, and you get this very pronounced intake sound on this bike. Not too dissimilar from when you were a kid in high school and you put a cold air intake on your Honda Civic. I'll show you guys. I'm in 4th gear, about 3,000 RPM. I don't know if you guys can hear this. You have a very deep, bassy tone when it opens up. It's nice. I really like it. I think the exhaust is certainly cruisable. It's not so loud that, you know, I feel like a nuisance going through neighborhoods. It's a teensy bit raspy at the top end, which I'm sure you guys heard on the off the bike stuff. But you can see here we're in a more residential area. There's some big lots here, so it's all good. But yeah, I'm 4th gear. If you keep it under 5,000 RPM and with sort of minor throttle, it's actually very civilized. I would prefer to put in a DB killer and just get it really nice and rounded. But I think that for, you know, a fun, peppy, sporty exhaust, I've certainly heard a lot louder. SC Project is much louder than Leo Vinci. I have experience with both of those systems. Akrapovic tends to be a bit in the middle, but we'll click it down a few gears here, down to 2nd. Let you guys hear this thing. Here, a bit higher in the RPM, closer to 6,000 RPM or so. It's a real treat getting an exhaust system on a motorcycle with a quick shifter. You just get to blip up through those gears. It's super nice. The GSX-8R's auto blip system, not as great as other motorcycles. I think the issue is when you have a big twin like this, auto blip down just is not a feature that works very well. See, I'll show you guys. I'll put it up into 5th here. We have a pickup truck coming up, so we'll kind of speed towards it and then use our auto blipper as we get closer to it and it's uphill. It's just not a very nice system. I really prefer grabbing my own gears on the GSX-8R. So show you guys, put it up into 5th, and then that's so much nicer. So if you know how to blip your gears down, it'll be a lot nicer to do on this machine. The big thing with the GSX-8R is torque in the middle, right? Like, it's got lots of pickup and go from 2,000 RPM until about 7,000 RPM. That's really where you want to be with this bike. And this exhaust and this tune really makes it fun to be in that area. And you're going to be working the gearbox a lot because this motorcycle's geared very nicely and it doesn't rev too high. So you get to really play with the gearbox. You know, I'm in this more chilled out road here, and I'm in 4th gear, but I could drop down to 2nd, be in that meat of the power, right in the mid-range, grab 2 gears up, and, you know, it's a lot of fun riding a motorcycle like that, getting to use the gearbox, interact with the systems a little bit. That's why a big leader bike isn't that fun to ride. But you can see here, we're going to cruise this neighborhood. Can be in 5th gear, and, you know, GoPro audio is always a little iffy, but I can tell you from the seat of the pants here, it's not very loud. This is totally something reasonable that you can ride in your neighborhood, and you know, you're not gonna have anybody putting their hands over their ears, so to speak. This is a relatively tame system. I wouldn't open it up too much past 5 or 10% throttle in a neighborhood area because it will be quite loud. I'll show you guys here. Grab down into 4th, right? Just, that's already quite a bit louder. You know, I can really tell. I'm wearing earplugs, got a full face helmet on, and you know, just that little bit, going from 5% to maybe 20% throttle, like, it's really loud. But most of the loudness is the intake at that low RPM. all the way up above, you're not going to be at, you know, 10,000 RPM in a neighborhood. I hope not. So it's pretty okay. Again, if it were my bike and my system, I would probably put a dB killer in it, just because I think it's just a hair too loud for me. But I've become very picky with exhausts over the last few years. I used to like them loud and like them aggressive, and I didn't care. But nowadays I like them a little more refined, and you know, I like a nice tone out of the bike, but I don't want to you know, upset anybody or be a nuisance. And I think this is almost that nuisance factor when you're out on the road. In the neighborhood, not so bad. Out on the road, it certainly is a teensy bit loud for my liking. But the GSX-8R really wakes up, man. It's got a lot of poke. It's nice. Real nice. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Pat yourself on the back right there. And I've heard your feedback that you thought the outros were a little weird. So we're keeping it a little bit more normal. Everything is normal. It's completely normal. And if you want this to end, you just click the video right over there. Or become a member on yammynoob.co and win this bike over here. 51 bikes given away. It's no joke.